Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see so many people fired up about VR here at 9 a.m. Thanks for being here. Yeah. I lead the virtual reality team at Google. And yeah, just to get right to it, virtual reality is coming to Android N. So it all actually started at a Google I/O 2 years ago with Cardboard. And since then, Cardboard has done some pretty amazing things. There are millions of them out there in the world, in all shapes and sizes. We wanted to create something that has the best attributes of Cardboard, but which is also comfortable, richly interactive, and far more immersive. But to create that kind of immersion, you have to solve, to make your brain say, yep, I'm somewhere else, you have to solve a lot of really hard problems across all parts of the VR experience. You have to design a system that's capable of rendering at very high frame rate and resolution. To make the experience really comfortable, you have to minimize what's called motion to photon latency. That's the delay between when you move your head and when the picture updates to reflect that motion. And you need to solve for how you interact with things in VR. And when you nail those things, it just feels like you're there. Well, we've been working on these problems and more. And now what we've built, we'll call it Daydream. Daydream is our platform for high-quality mobile virtual reality, and in it are all of the ingredients you need to create incredible immersive VR experiences. Now, over time, Daydream will encompass VR devices in many shapes and sizes, but today is about how Daydream will enable high-quality VR on Android smartphones. And there are three parts to it. The smartphones themselves, including VR optimizations to Android N, a reference design for a headset and a controller, and apps, both how you get them through Google Play and the apps themselves. We've created a set of phone specifications for VR. We call phones that meet these specs Daydream ready. And the specs include things like high-performance sensors for accurate head tracking, displays with a fast response time to minimize blur, and powerful mobile processors. And if a phone meets these specs, it'll be capable of delivering a great VR experience. But the smartphone itself, it's only part of the story. The operating system, the software, it needs to be able to make use of all of these capabilities, all while keeping latency to an absolute minimum. So we've introduced what we call VR mode as part of Android N. We've worked at all levels of the Android stack to optimize it for VR. There are going to be a lot of Daydream-ready phones. In fact, Samsung, Alcatel, Asus, Huawei, HTC, LG, Xiaomi, and ZTE all will have smartphones that are compatible with the Daydream-ready spec, and several will be available this fall. So that's phones with Daydream-ready phone specs and the VR optimizations as part of Android N. Let's turn to headsets. Now, this is obvious, but a VR headset, it's something that you wear on your head. And because it's something that you wear, there's so many things you need to get just right. It has to have great optics, it has to be comfortable. The materials need to feel good, and it needs to be really easy to put on and take off. We've taken what we've learned in all of these areas, and we've created a reference design for headsets that will work seamlessly with Daydream-ready phones. We're sharing this design with partners across the ecosystem, and there will be several of them coming to market, with the first available this fall. Now, when it comes to VR, everyone thinks about headsets, but the controller, how you interact with VR, it's just as important. We wanted to create a controller that's optimized for VR, that's both powerful and intuitive. And so we've been working on a controller for Daydream. It looks like this. And if we actually zoom in a little bit, you can see the controller itself, it's very simple. There are a few buttons and a clickable touchpad so you can scroll and swipe. But hidden inside the controller is the magic. We've built in orientation sensors so it knows where it's pointing, how it's turning. You can do some pretty awesome things with it. Let's have a look.
For years, we made video games where you would sit on the other side of the glass. Now you're inside the real 3D world with a real feeling of presence.
Daydream's an exciting new mobile VR platform, and what it does is take some of the high-end VR features that we've seen in desktop VR applications and brings them to Android so that we can really up the level of fidelity in our mobile VR experiences.
What's especially exciting about Daydream is that you have complete freedom of movement. You don't have a cord tangling you up. You also have this amazing controller that lets you interact, it lets you throw things, it lets you choose where you want to move.
So when people think about mobile VR, you generally think of, look aiming or your hands locked to your head. But with the Daydream controller, it's a whole new ballgame. You can actually freely interact with the world in a natural way, and that feels really good.
The Daydream integration with Unreal, it works out of the box with all the interfaces for VR that you're already familiar with. So there's nothing new to learn. You can jump in there and start creating experiences with the tools from UE4.
At Epic, we're really excited about Daydream because, well, everyone has a phone. This really takes VR to the masses. It gives you the ability to have the same kind of experience that you have on really high-end VR systems, but now completely immersive and with this beautiful controller. And we know that Unreal Engine 4 is going to power some absolutely amazing and incredible experiences there.
So this is a sample project I made using assets from the marketplace. I'm really excited to see what you guys do with Daydream and Unreal Engine 4.